is going on, everybody? Depraved / here, and we are back with another music reaction on Depraved.
I'm Hellcat.
And together we are
HellaDepraved.
So first off, Sa-Roc, we are sorry it took us so long to get to this.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Life happens.
So, I have, for those of you that don't know, I have been on 10-hour shifts for the better part of the last 13 days straight.
Yes.
Roughly.
Mandatory overtime sucks.
Mandatory overtime. So here's the thing. When this song came out, we have had literally, in the span of the time we've been doing things, we have run into situations where it's almost every night. Either when I get home, I'm too tired to do something, or when I get home, she's too tired to do something. And neither of us want to go into any Sa-Roc song kind of tired.
No. No. You just can't.
I have a hard enough time fully awake.
Now.
This is good news.
Yes. Yes. She is one of the most lyrically profound artists that we've come across, actually, that I have. I'd put Crook up there with her for sure. But the amount of esoteric knowledge for most of us, I guess I would say, that she puts into her tracks makes it they're always a brain teaser. Right. There is always something more than what you think she is saying. So, with that being said...
Hold on. Are we getting ready to go into our normal?
No.
Oh, go ahead then.
This time through, because this is a first reaction from both of us, because this is a new track, and this is off of the album that is coming out in 8 days. I'm very excited.
That's what I was going to point out. October 2nd, y'all.
Yes.
Sharecropper's Daughter is dropping.
Very excited. So it's the second single that she's released. Because
and we will be covering the whole album.
Yes.
Just to let you know.
Because of the amount of knowledge that she drops, we are doing something a little different than our normal hip-hop rap reactions. I do have the lyrics, because she always posts the lyrics in the description box below her music videos, pulled up on my phone. Now, we will be listening to it without reading along, but when we pause, we will go back over the lyrics to make sure that what we heard is correct. And that way, any of the information that she's dropped that I can parse out for you guys, I will. That means this will probably be a relatively long reaction, guys.
Yeah.
Just warning you now.
There will be lots of pauses. So, that being said, we're going to react to this as if you have already seen it. If you have not seen it, please click the link in the description below. Hop on over, watch the video, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment, let her know we sent you. Come on back. I know we've turned on at least 3 people to her music.
At least. And guys, she's
amazing.
And she's amazing to her fans. She has tweeted out that we've done reactions. She has responded to tweets. She's come in and watched. I mean, this woman deserves so much more of a fan base than she already has. So, please go on over. Sub, you will not be disappointed.
Right. But yeah, so do all that. Come on back. And again, we say that because we will be pausing it. We are a breakdown channel.
If you like to listen to your tracks the first time through, straight through, this is not the place. That is why we recommend you go watch it first.
You're going to want to hold on to that phone. There will be lots of pauses.
You plan on, slamming the keyboard, or... Yeah, okay, never mind.
That or my headphones.
The headphones is what I was kind of more worried about. Projectile, So, we already have a double, triple, quadruple, who knows, in the title. It's Revolution, or it could be Re-Evolution.
Or just Revolution.
It could
Revel
be.
in her greatness.
Well, we do that anyway.
We do.
But I feel like it's a re-evolve. We need to evolve in a different direction, almost, kind of.
Or a revolution through evolution.
That makes a lot of sense. Through knowledge.
Evolve.
We need to evolve through knowledge and... Yeah, okay.
All right.
See? Wait.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sa-Roc with Revolution. Let's get it.
Excited. All right. Already. Kind of called it.
Any real change implies the breakup of the world as one has always known it.
James Baldwin.
Revolution through evolution.
Right.
Change. There is only one constant in this universe, and that is change.
And honestly, almost all change is in some way painful, because you have to put your past behind you aside, learn from it in order to grow. And by doing that, you are constantly breaking up that concept that you had to better adapt to what you now know.
Right.
So you are breaking up your worldview in order to change.
And those, a lot of times that change comes through failing.
Yeah, it's a growth through wisdom.
As an amazing rapper once said not long ago, don't take losses, take lessons.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
All right.
Already dropping knowledge on us. Ooh.
Dropped from out the clouds, had to change form. Flooded the plains, had them praying for my brainstorms. I'm a master, peace from divine. A worker, I got a bit of mob trying to frame.
Yo.
She's already.
I'm a master. Piece. Combining this masterpiece, but she's a master, and she's
From the divine.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on!
And I liked how she said, dropped from the clouds, had to change forms. Flooded the plains, had him praying for my brainstorms. Now, I will point out that, that's why I was laughing. The brainstorm part is what had me cackling. I will point out that the nation of gods and earth, which I mentioned in the previous reaction, is where we get the whole saying, it's what Nation of Islam broke off from it. It was they don't consider themselves a religion. It's a way of life. It's a knowledge that leads to life, basically. Right. But it does have elements of ascension, and that's where we get the saying, Allah, the arm, leg, arm, head. So it's a kind of...
they themselves are divine.
Right. And so not only is she saying she's a master, pieced from the divine, meaning she herself is pieces of the divine, but the masters are the ones that have ascended and then come back to spread knowledge and wisdom in order to help elevate the other people.
Right.
And rain is seen as wisdom from above. So rain drops from the clouds, and she said she drops from the clouds had to change forms because clouds change form when they condense into rain. And then the brainstorms is obviously a play on the storms. And then, of course, the I'm a master means she has accepted the concept of she is herself divine, but then she goes on to the masterpiece. It's just already, girl, stop. No, don't stop. Don't stop.
Bite your tongue.
But I will say, I really like Soul Mesa's beat choice here. Right. Like it's more soulful than the normal tracks that I've heard.
Right.
I really like it.
Storms, I'm a master, peace from divine. A worker, I got a bit of mob trying to frame John. I'm heir to an era of conflict, with a postcodes drawn to the pros and the cons split. Professionals, been Robin Hoods with a conflict, gave to the poor and the black the stigmata of convict. See the cross we bear is too familiar, embedded in the home of the brave, the darkest of interiors. So street scholars and soldiers defect, cause they post-traumatic stress on their American experience. Go.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm gonna make sure that she's an heir to an era of conflict where the postcodes drawn so the pros and the cons split. And that's where my face changed is, I mean, first of all, there's the homophone of just the postcodes and the pros and cons. But it's very true. Like, we have divided our nation into postcodes that split the line between pros and cons, whether it's race or socioeconomic class.
Right. And I think this is a triple. And I'll tell you what.
Go for it. So,
adding on to what you just said, they're dividing people through area codes. And she just mentioned work of art, got a bitter mob trying to frame John.
And John just means anything, trying to frame a person. It's a...
Right. And often there is conflict between postcodes.
Yeah.
One people in one part of a city thinking they're better than the other.
Right.
On top of that, pros and cons. Pros could be pros as in like professional people, whether it's sports players,
right,
or just professionals within their profession,
right,
lawyers, things like that. And then the cons, who are just barely scraping by and having to do what they can just to survive.
Or convicts.
That's what I was saying, baby.
Yeah.
That's a con. That's
well,
people that are scraping by and doing what they have to survive.
Right, okay. That are considered convicts. Right. I mean, like, I guess I would be careful in actually saying they are. But the next line being professionals been Robin Hoods with a palm flick.
Right. So
she is talking about then professionals and con men. You know, they are one and the same though. This is the part that I was like, oh, we need to pause. Gave to the poor and the black the stigmata of convict. Now, normally you would just say the stigma, because the stigma is the everlasting sort of negative thought process. Like, you're stereotyping someone negatively. That's a stigma. But a stigmata is actually when somebody has physical wounds that are in the areas that resemble Jesus' crucifixion. So these professionals actually gave the poor people physical scars and reminders. Right. But it's a stigma. It's something that was attached to them, whether it was deserved or not. Right. And that's how they're controlling them. That's how they're... And of course, Robin Hoods, you know, we all know the character Robin Hood. He steals from the poor. I mean, he steals from the rich to feed the poor. But she's talking about hoods.
Well, she's talking about, so the whole line with what you're talking about, gave to the poor and the black, the stigmata of convict. Again, our country was built by slaves. People of color gained their freedom. But then we all of a sudden, as a country, started devising all these laws and rules in order to still keep black people down.
Yeah, it's the whole 13th Amendment was the abolition of slavery, except there was an addendum to it that said unless they were convicted felons.
Right.
And so then they made sure that anything they were doing, I know, like, the war on drugs was really like a huge tie-in with that.
Right.
So that they could be arrested, and then it was considered just like a prison sentence to then use them as the workforce. But they were just imprisoning them and enslaving them, just doing it quote-unquote legally.
But the laws also lead to it's a cycle people
Yeah.
get into. You go in jail, all of a sudden you become a felon.
Right.
You have trouble getting an actual job.
Right, because
matter what it
a lot
is.
of places won't hire felons.
And if you need to survive, then you're going to need to do something to survive if nobody's hiring you.
Right.
So now all of a sudden you are committing more crimes.
It's
and
cyclical.
It's a
Yeah.
perpetual cycle of just bullshit.
Which is why it's a stigmata of convict. Like,
Right.
it's a stigma, but it's also, yeah, you're never going to get rid of it. But the Robin Hoods, you know, they're robbing them of the people, basically. People, stop. But yeah, Jesus. And then she said, see, the cross we bear is too familiar. And of course, like I said, stigmata does relate to the crucifixion, Jesus on the cross.
Right.
But that's also, the cross you bear is also sort of the, it's a colloquialism for the burden you carry.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right.
There was more. I
Was
stopped
there?
it quite a bit later.
Oh, embedded in the home of the brave, the darkest of interiors. And of course, we call America the home of the brave.
Right.
But the dark interior, the actuality of America, is home to this
The
conflict. The convicts, the people that we built it upon, like stepping on.
Right.
And then, did we get further?
I think we got to the American experience.
I think that's, saw street scholars and soldiers defect because they post-traumatic stress from the American experience. Street scholars are normally considered people that were raised on the streets. They're street smart. They've graduated from the streets. And of course, soldiers. And the thing is that she then talks about post-traumatic stress disorder, which is commonly associated with soldiers.
Right.
But if you are a street scholar, meaning you grew up on the streets, you've also seen a lot of violence and war. And it can be related to the soldier experience. And unfortunately, that is the American experience. I like how she said she's seen them defect, because normally it would be they defected, because defect is when something has a flaw.
Right.
Which is the American experience. It has many defects. But to defect is normally associated with soldiers or whatnot, but it normally means that they have moved away from their allegiance. A lot of them are seen as traitors, but it can mean moving away from a religion, moving away from a state, country, whatever, but you know, it's definitely moved away from like an allegiance because they're stressed out from the American experience. They're traumatized by it.
Right.
Street scholars and soldiers defect cause they post-traumatic stress on their American experience. Go all in, I'm finna go all in. Merc every line came before this delivery, make orphans. See my heart bleed from the hardship of my origins. My great-grand sold for a band at Southern auctions. It's the razor edge of my cadence that's shredded through these paper trails. Only alphabet boys I trust is N-O-Y and L. Only alchemy justify the nuggets I expel. In the city idols trying to be the next idle whales rock. I don't know which.
Okay. All right. So she says, go off then. I'm finna go all in. Merc, every line came before this delivery. Make orphans. That's what I was cackling at.
That was...
So, obviously, a delivery, like giving birth, delivery, but also delivery being...
The delivery of
her message.
Of her message.
Make orphans. So she's gonna murder every verse, every message that came before with her new delivery, and
right.
She's gonna make orphans. Love that. See my heart bleed from the hardships in my origins. My great-grand sold for band at Southern auctions. Band is normally $1,000.
Right. But grand
is also $1,000.
is also another representation of $1,000, but grand also being like one of her grandparents.
Yeah. And was sold for just $1,000 at Southern auctions. It's the razor edge in my cadence that shredded through these paper trails. And auctions, the sale of a slave, there are paper trails, but paper is also slang for money.
Right.
So, you know, it's the sharpness to her words. She's shredding through, yeah. Only alphabet boys I trust is NOI and L's. And alphabet boys are the government, like FBI, CIA. That's what alphabet boys are. But NOI is the Nation of Islam.
Right.
And L's, which is funny because it sounds like the letter L, which is why she's saying alphabet boys. But L, E-L-S as it's spelled, would be deities. El is the, like, Elohim.
Right.
It's the prefix for a generic deity, gods. So she's saying she only trusts, in terms of alphabet boys, the NOA, which is... NOI, sorry. Nation of Islam. It's the tenant, it's the progenitor of the nation of gods and earths. It's this whole thought process. And gods, deities. Only alchemy justify the nuggets I expel.
So for those of you that don't know, alchemy is the act of taking one substance and rearranging its molecular structure to turn it into something else.
Often considered magical.
Right.
Or mystical.
Thank you, Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
All right. But that's what she's saying. To justify the nuggets I expel, she's changing up how she's doing things in terms of her flow and things like that, which she stated earlier, to deliver a more solid message.
And nuggets I expel, that's like nuggets of wisdom normally means, you know, kernels of truth or whatever. But alchemy,
originally, people are trying to find a way to create gold out of lead.
Which comes in nuggets.
Or other things.
Yeah.
That's what alchemy is most known for. I don't think anybody ever figured it out.
No, but I mean, that is what they were trying to do. Although it was the, like, predecessor to chemistry. So, right. I mean, it did serve its purpose in terms of scientific study, but, yeah, they never turned lead into gold. Inner city idol, trying to be the next Ida Wells. Now, idols...
I don't know who Ida Wells is.
Okay, idols are normally made out of gold.
Right.
Just, you know, but she's talking about herself, inner city, you know. And Ida Wells was...
Well, idols are just things that you look up to.
Well,
but
yeah.
That's where the double is.
But that's why I referred it back to the gold, as it is a double.
Right.
Ida Wells was an... So she was an American journalist. She was an African-American woman. And she was a teacher. She was hardcore. She actually exposed lynchings in southern states.
Okay.
To the point that they chased her out of those states. And she ended up being a huge person in the fight for women's rights. She was a suffragette, but she was really trying to help minorities, and so a lot of the, like, white suffragettes didn't really like her. But she's known as being a great person in trying to put especially African American women higher up in terms of equality.
Right.
So, okay. And then Rock is what she normally says, her name before going into chorus. Okay.
The nuggets I expel in the city idols trying to be the next Ida Wells Rock.
I don't know what you might have heard, but we ain't going nowhere. But
dressed in all black, got the streets on notice. What up? They want us in the same place. Ain't nobody ever gonna really change nothing but us. Hello, this is revolution. Get on up. Born queen with a street.
Oh,
I like that she's using the scenes from the from the protests.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So she said, I don't know what you might have heard, but we ain't going nowhere but up. Got a whole squad dressed in all black. Got the streets on notice. What's up? They want us in the same place. Ain't nobody ever gonna really change nothing but us. Hello, this is revolution. Get on up. And again, I just really like it. The motion has to come from us. Like, the system has been created to keep everyone where they are.
right.
And so they want us in the same place. That's what I'm referring to. So it's going to take all of us to change the system, the way we're treated, everybody.
Right.
And they're not going anywhere but up. You know, I just, yeah, she's hype. She gets me hype. Sorry.
This revolution, get on up. Born queen with a street type of etiquette. That's why I rule over every subject and predicate. Scrawl these searing indictments on every edifice. And balls on my holy cabal. The only evidence left. Use the venom in my rap tone. Cause more often it's sweet. Like serve vinegar in black homes. More specifically with fire lit them crack stones. War on drugs turn a fiend to fella in the snap gone.
Oh, that got nasty. Born queen with a street type of etiquette. That's why I rule over every subject and predicate. That's what made me giggle. It's like her first sentences are making me giggle every single time.
Where's she from?
I don't remember.
Is she from Queens?
Maybe.
Google real quick. I could be wrong,
Okay.
but it would make the bar even more.
Okay, so what I'm
Insane.
giggling over is born queen. But, okay, so queens have subjects. That's who they rule over.
Right.
And to...
You talk.
Thank you. And
We'll
to
never be
predicate is to make a statement. So she said that's why I predicate. You know, I'm making a statement because I rule over my subjects. However, grammatically, if you're talking about sentence structure, a predicate is the part of the sentence
Not she's from Washington, D.C.
that makes a statement about the subject. So she just used sentence structure in the English language as a double. I like that. That was special. Okay, now I gotta scroll all the way back down. Scrawl these searing indictments on every edifice. So indictments are serious accusations, judgments, normally proof with a lot of proof. On every edifice, edifices are normally buildings. And then symbols of my holy cabal, the only evidence. Again, so a cabal can be a group of people normally that have a sort of secretive knowledge, but it's derived from the Kabbalah, which is the Jewish study mysticism. Again, it's that there's two forms of God, the God that we can never understand, and then the God that we do understand, which is shown to us in every creation. So it's kind of where the whole I am God idea came, but it has a lot of symbols in it. And so she's saying that, you know, she's leaving symbols which are seared on, they're scrawled on all these edifices. So excuse the venom in my rap tone, because more often than sweet, life served vinegar in black homes. More specifically, where fire lit them crack stones.
So vinegar in this term is more like hardships.
It's a double. You are correct. They were served more trials and tribulations than sweet.
Right.
But she is talking about right after she said, more specifically, where fire lit them crack stones. To turn crack cocaine into an injectable substance, you have to mix it with something acidic. Vinegar is one of the biggest options.
Right.
And unfortunately, in the poorer areas, like she's talking about, drug use is a large problem.
And then she says, war on drugs turned a fiend to a felon and a snap gone.
Yeah.
Basically in the blink of an eye.
Well, and it's the war on drugs too. Like we were talking about the 13th Amendment before.
Right.
And so that is what they used to convict a whole bunch of people in order to keep them enslaved, basically. But it's also a double, because SNAP benefits are, for anyone who doesn't know, that's like our food stamp cards. Like if you qualify, the government will help you with some of your basic needs benefits. And they're called SNAP benefits. But if you are a convicted felon, especially for drugs, you have a lifelong ban on not getting SNAP benefits. So she's saying in a snap, like quickly, in a jiffy, but then she says gone, because your SNAP benefits, they're gone.
Right.
So
Specifically with fire lit them crack stones. War on drugs turn a fiend, a fella in the snap gone. Inspired I am my diatribe. Cause polished lies try and tell us that Shabazz is the diatribe. So I'ma turn this pen and tab into a tabernacle, so them gins can't distinguish God from me. I spit the 12 jewels of freedom from the 13. This a clear view like baby seeing from the first blink. They can buy the spear from my nation, cut the purse strings. Gene pool established ancestors was the first link. Guarantee we finna recoup. Stuntin' recover, Ghanaian gold on the molars of every tooth. We buying back the blocks like Wall Street pursuit. We failed couple of times, the rise absolute. Trust.
Woo!
she really went in on this verse. Like the first one was enough, but this one she's like, okay, every line I'm gonna have like triples. It's cool. Okay, so inspired ire in my diatribe. So again, I really like her alliteration and homophones and stuff. I'm just going to put that in there because we won't talk about that again. So all of this stuff inspired anger in her diatribe, in her monologue of judgment on you. Because Polished Liar is trying to tell us that Shabazz is a dying tribe. So diatribe and dying tribe was done obviously intentionally as a homophone. Shabazz is the name of the only tribe out of 13 said to have survived. That the origins of men from the African American man and woman came from.
Right.
So they're trying to lie and say that the origins of man, this tribe is a dying tribe, and of course, like I said, it's the only tribe that lived. So I'm gonna turn this pen and tablet to a tabernacle, so them jinns can't distinguish God from me, I and I. The tabernacle was what the Jews carried to, when they were wandering the desert and so on, that they used to, like a house of God, to communicate. And the jinns are a huge belief, or used to be, depends on where your focus is. In Islamic tradition, they're seen as spirits, neither good nor bad necessarily, but they were also thought to have been called by King Solomon to build the temple of Solomon, and that was the replacement for the tabernacle once the Jews landed in one place. So, but yeah.
Which is actually a representation of slaves building America.
It is, yeah. And those sometimes jinns are also referred to as devils. It just really, I mean, it depends on your mythology, honestly.
I say there's one where it's spelled a little differently, spelled with a D,
Well,
and they're
that's the
evil genies.
but my words aren't working so well because she's killing me here. But can't distinguish God from me, I and I. That goes back to what I was talking about, the belief system, the Allah, the whole I am deity, I and I, and it's also I think it's Rastafarian that they refuse to use certain words because they're seen as representations of slavery almost. And I does mean like God and me, but they so
Right.
spit the 12 jewels to free him from the 13th. The 12 jewels are the tenets basically of both the Nation of Islam and the Nation of Gods and Earths. And it's with their like the mathematics. It's part of how they interpret the world, and it's it's a beautiful list, but there's 12 of them, and they're called the 12 jewels, and spitting is another, like she's rapping. But to free him from the 13th, the 13th Amendment is causing. Well, it's also a documentary now. It's called The 13th, and it's a study of how the 13th Amendment, with that little addendum, has created the prison system as re-enslavement in order for these large corporations to get slave labor. So if she spits the truth, because the 12 jewels they lead you to the truth, she can free people from the 13th. This is a clear view, like babies seeing from the first blink.
That's in reference to so like kids see everything as it is.
Yeah.
Um,
No masks, no lies.
There's no masks, no lies. They see everything at face value.
Mm-hmm.
So they have no preconceived notions of what things are supposed to be or anything like that. They just see
Right.
what is.
Well, and it's also said that kids can see the mystical, like spirits, ghosts, whatever, because they haven't become jaded or disbelief hasn't set in yet, that kind of thing.
Right.
They can't buy the spirit from our nation, cut the purse strings. Again, she just spoke about jinns, which are spirits, but they also can't, like the Nation of Islam, the nation of gods and earths, they can't take that away from us, that belief, that core value away from us.
Right.
Cut the purse strings, because again, referring back to the prison system, like that is how these huge corporations are mass producing their, and then gene pool established, ancestors was the first link, because we've now established, at least in some scientific places, that the cradle of civilization was in Africa, the first link. At least that's what I would interpret that as. Guarantee we finna recoup. Stunting recovered Ghanaian gold on the molars of every tooth. Gold is the, largest mineral exported from Ghana, but a lot of it's done illegally. I know I saw that they were trying to work on that because of natural resource contamination, like water. I can't, and then of course a lot of people cap their teeth with gold. We buying back the blocks. Black Wall Street pursuit. If we fell a couple times, the rise absolute. For anyone who doesn't know what Black Wall Street was, it was this huge center of African American culture, property. Um, they owned it. It was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I think. But it was like the 1920s, and they were considered upper middle class, but they had like all of their stores, and I mean it was a whole like community. It was a center for, and the white people around them did not like that they were prospering so much, but segregation was part of the thing. Like it was enforced segregation.
Right.
So they claimed some crime, like serious crime, had been committed by one of the, I can't remember, I think it was rape. And they ended up burning down all 40 acres of this African American owned, and so many people died, lost their homes, lost their businesses, and of course, white America moved in while they were all homeless and suffering, and bought the land from them for pennies. And I know that they did try to resurrect. So when she talks about if we fell a couple times, the rise absolute, I know that they tried to reestablish it, and it just never, like the end of segregation came, and then they were promoted to go shopping elsewhere, and so on and so forth, to, you know, and so, but that's a very, very tragic racial crime era,
Right.
Black Wall Street. So trust me. Okay. And then we're going.
Don't know what you might have heard, but we ain't going nowhere. But got a whole squad dressed in all black, got the streets on notice. What up? They want us in the same place, ain't nobody ever gonna really change nothing but us. Hello, this is revolution, get on up. I don't know what you might have heard, but we ain't going nowhere. But got a whole squad dressed in all black, got the streets on notice. What up? They want us in the same place, ain't nobody ever gonna really change nothing but us. Hello, this is revolution, get on up.
I didn't know we were already at the end of the song.
I mean, my brain is glad, but
I won't read that.
the real ones don't die.
Right.
Yes, that was amazing.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are the type of white people that don't believe it is ever right for us white people to say that word. Ever.
And any variation doesn't matter. That was amazing. Obviously, it's way more intricate. I was expecting this after the last one, but her songs are so much more intricate than just a base value. Like, let's listen to this. Oh, that sounds great. But this was definitely a call to arms, and I support it 100%. Like you said, I really like that she had clips from the protests and the movement, and you know, got the whole squad dressed in black for Black Lives Matter. I thought it was really poignant that at the end she's showing a lot of the destruction and the fires after having mentioned Black Wall Street, and knowing that the devastation caused was mostly fire.
And I mean, we've touched on so many other songs in terms of our personal beliefs in the protests and the Black Lives Matter movement and everything entailed with it.
Right.
100% supporters. Again, I didn't go to the protests here in Indy like I wanted to because I had my kids.
Who were very young.
And yeah, my kids are very young, and
right.
I did not want to risk them getting trampled or getting any kind of...
Well, endangering them in any way, yeah. Yeah.
I did what I could from home.
Right. Well, and we were and are still vocal about our
Right.
support, 100%.
But yeah, and honestly, I hope we don't stop until everyone is equal.
I agree.
It's
I mean, I
keep
think that's why
protesting,
she's saying,
keep fighting.
nothing's going to change because they want us here.
Right.
Divided socioeconomically, race-wise, belief-wise, political party-wise, because it benefits the system. Like, a lot of this benefits the prison system, too. Like, the convicts. Like, the whole song obviously tied back to each other. Like, she's got all of these arcs going everywhere with this song.
Right.
And it's amazing, but it is a call to arms. It's come on, people. Like, I'm here, I'm the rain. I am bringing you guys knowledge and wisdom. You just need to accept it and grow. And then, like the quote at the very beginning, like, if you take in wisdom, change happens if you break apart your worldview and change.
Right.
Move forward. Do better. We should be doing better.
It just never ceases to amaze me when I stop and think about, like, where we could be at as a society if we did not let things like race, sex,
Right.
religion divide us.
Right. Hold us back. Keep us in place.
We're so focused on everyone's differences instead of focusing on what we can do together
Right.
to progress as human beings.
Right.
And it's bullshit.
And it's sad. And we should be doing better. Much, much better. Because a lot of this stuff is what most people would consider ancient history, which is sad because it is also recent history. You know?
Ancient history has become current events.
Yeah.
Never really stopped being current events.
No, it's always cyclical too. So, it's just, come on, people.
Do better.
I mean, even if you
Humans.
see it as a religion or, you don't believe in the mystical, the whole I and I concept really creates an equal playing field. Everyone is equal. And even if you do believe in, like, a creator, a overarching deity, the fact that they created us means we do have pieces of the divine in us. And we were all created for a reason.
Right.
So, that probably is equals. There you go. We should be equal. All of us. Doesn't matter. But I loved it. That was amazing.
As
I'm
always.
super, yeah, I didn't expect anything less. But I did like the difference in the beat, like I said. I really like the difference in, it's more soulful, I want to say. Which sounds corny because Soul Mesa is the person who puts them together, but, that's
Right.
what I'm going to say.
Yeah. All right.
Can't wait for the album.
Fantastic.
Yes, it will. And I will be so tired.
We're only doing one song a night. I'm letting you know.
Yeah, our brains, I don't think, can handle more.
Um,
Rest, recuperate.
Right.
Well, I mean, like, I've also got to kind of, like, assimilate the knowledge and be like, go through the change, and then, I can do the next.
Right. But all right, guys. We're going to end it here. If you guys like the video, slash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Comment down below, what did you think of Sa-Roc with Revolution, or Re-Evolution?
However you want to look at it.
However you want to look at it. Also, comment down below what else you guys like to see us react to. Check the description below for all the things.
Push our buttons. Come join us on our other social media platforms, mostly Twitter if you want a quick response. Great place to also drop requests.
With
Maybe
that-
not after a Sa-Roc track.
Right.
I need a cat nap.
We get there.
If I'd shut up.
If you'd be quiet.
We love you, Sa-Roc.
No, we
Thank
love you guys. And thank you for watching. I forgot what I was supposed to say.
Depraved people later.
And we cannot wait to see you depraved people later.
Didn't help that I shut up, did it?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Nothing helps. I need to pee. Bye, guys.